Welcome to Apothecary Talks. I'm Dr. Jillian Stansbury. This recording is part of a series aimed at helping beginning herbalists learn how to put together effective herbal formulas. Part of becoming a clinician is learning a variety of different herbs known as materia medica, or medicinal materials, individual herbs and their niche indications, their actions. And this series is tutoring those beginner herbalists to learn actions of herbs. Mastering the actions of herbs is the first step to becoming a skillful herbal clinician. So this recording is part of a series where we look at alteratives, adaptogens, stimulants, anti-inflammatories, diuretics, vulnerary herbs, carminatives, and so on, and teach you some of the key examples of the most useful plants in those categories. This recording is focusing on alterative herbs. Alterative herbs are one of my favorite all-purpose categories along with the adaptogens. See also that recording. One of my favorite action groups of herbs because they're so versatile that they can go into formulas for nearly everyone and any different diagnoses. Alteratives are so valuable because they support liver function. Alteratives are foundational herbs in the treatment of many ailments because they enhance digestion, meaning the assimilation of nutrients out of our foods. They enhance elimination of wastes, our own metabolic wastes, as well as toxins and pesticides and environmental chemicals we might be exposed to. They support the liver in conjugating hormones. It's just a normal job that the liver does to decrease the excessive stimulation of hormone-sensitive tissues. They help clear all manner of metabolic waste and toxins from the tissues. And those are all big jobs that the liver is responsible for. And in many cases, it just being alive and walking down the street and exposed to chemicals in buildings and in our foods and in textiles and in paint fumes and all of the myriad of environmental substances and car exhaust that we're exposed to on a daily basis. It's the liver's job to remove those from our bloodstream and from our tissues. The liver is also responsible for metabolizing fat-soluble nutrients, cholesterol, and other lipids from our diet. And we also make our hormones, our steroidal molecules in our bodies out of cholesterol. And so the liver is responsible for digesting and assimilating and manipulating cholesterol and everything that is synthesized from cholesterol, such as our steroids. In general, our alterative herbs are many bitter roots of the aster family. That's the dandelion family. Compositae family is an older name as well. Many bitter roots of this family have an alterative action. So these alterative bitter roots improve hormonal balance, digestion, liver function. That we can use them to treat skin diseases, chronic infections. So for so many different diagnoses, and patients or yourself or your family, if you're a budding herbalist, can benefit from alteratives. They clear up our skin. They improve PMS and hormone symptoms. Acne in adolescents can be improved. When we're prone to just chronic infections that go around or lingering colds and viruses, or when little wounds and scratches become infected. The concept of alteratives in old folklore was that they cleaned the blood, that they removed from our circulatory system and from our tissues and from the body in general those waste materials that invited bacteria, things that create a hospitable ecosystem for fungal infections and microbes. They love high blood sugar, and they love and thrive on different tissues that have poor circulation and poor nutrition. Kind of like a stagnant pool will become fetid when it doesn't have good water circulation going through it. Similarly, there's the concept that alteratives are blood purifying agents. So many of these bitter roots are readily available in nature. If you make your own medicines from backyard weeds, here's dandelion actually being grown as a commercial crop at a farm in Oregon slated for the herb industry, and dandelion roots are a wonderful alterative agent that you can dry and use in teas. You can eat dandelion greens. You can tincture your dandelion roots. You can make vinegars and other products. Milk thistle, Salibum marianum, is another all-purpose liver support herb that many people use even for acute problems like hepatitis and liver failure and gallstones. It is so reliable to improve biliary function and improve each individual liver cell hepatocyte function to do its duties more efficiently. So milk thistle can be included in this group. Rumex, there's several different species of Rumex that are used, and these are the docks, yellow dock, crispy dock, that are also common weeds in many meadowed areas throughout the United States and all of the Northern Hemisphere, in fact, and I've seen it in South America in my travels as well. A widely distributed cosmopolitan plant is Rumex. Dandelion also grows all over the globe. Mahonia Oregon grape is more specific to the Pacific Northwest where I live, and Oregon grape is the source of berberine, studied to have many blood sugar balancing effects, many hepatotonic effects, many biliary effects, and then some. So these bitter roots can be seen in some commercial proprietary products as isolated berberine, or you can use Oregon grape bark and tincture or put in your various alternative teas. Chelidonium is another folkloric herb that's a cholagogue. Cholagogue will have a separate recording for, meaning those herbs that stimulate bile flow in the liver. So they're especially niche herbs for gallstones and gallbladder problems, but anything that's a cholagogue is going to be somewhat of an alterative, or anything that's an alterative is somewhat of a cholagogue just by enhancing liver function and that role of the liver to produce bile. And bile breaks down fats into tiny little particle sizes, emulsifies it so it can be readily absorbed and digested and metabolized by the body. Burdock. Burdock root goes by the name gobo in Japan, where it's eaten as a starchy root in stir fries, along with carrots and celery and peppers and onions, and can be delicious, or it can be dried for your teas or fresh tinctured, or if you have it locally, you too could dig up the roots and try them in your cooking. Yarrow is another extremely bitter plant, and many of these bitter substances will stimulate bile flow. In fact, it's thought that just the bitter taste of many of these herbs in the mouth signals elimination from just taste alone. And this is part of the sensory system built into our bodies, where many toxins have bitter flavors. Things that are outright poisonous to us tend to be bitter, alkaloids and such. So just tasting bitter stimulates this reflex of saliva flow, known as a silagogue, but also just tasting something bitter seems to give the body that reflex information that prepare the gut that something toxic might be coming, and stimulates digestive function, stimulates bile flow, stimulates peristalsis through the gut, that motion of things. So bitter tastes alone seem to be a value for us. And sometimes in our culture, when we just eschew all bitter flavors and go for salty and sweet, we might end up with some digestive insufficiency just by never getting that bitter stimulation. I have written a series of textbooks, Herbal Formularies for Health Professionals, that's available from Chelsea Green, so that you can look up more information about treating liver function, as well as information on all of these materia medica options and a discussion of alternatives. I also lead ethnobotany tours through the Andes and Amazon that you can contact me at bghealingarts.apothecary@gmail.com. And I thank you for listening. You can also look at more information on my website, healingartsapothecary.org, where we have links to a number of free recordings and podcasts, as well as some of my writings and blogs that you can download the PDF. Thank you for listening to Apothecary Talks.